breeders at an aquatic farm in the Lop Nur Lake area at the rim of China's largest desert, the GLOBALin, in northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region are embracing the harvest season of crabs. Local people come to purchase the crabs and experience a delicacy previously unknown to the inland area. Lop Nur Lake is a natural lake on the northeast of the GLOBALin Desert, originating from the Tarim River, the longest inland river in China. Thanks to the improving ecological environment in the Lop Nur Lake area, freshwater fish breeding became possible in the desert. In 2014, Chu Ningning, head of the Yuli freshwater fish breeding farm, became the first to try crab by raising crabs in the desert. Chu lets the crabs grow freely in the Lop Nur Lake, which receives clean water from the Tarim River.
它呢，是吃罗布湖里的水草和塔里木河流进来的小鱼小虾，以此为饵，所以它的品质就要非常非常高，然后这个口感也非常好。
Earlier this year, 50,000 yuan worth of juvenile Yangtze River crabs were put into the Lop Nur Lake, which are expected to yield 20 tons of crab.
As reported by Reuters on July 22nd, the return of more heat waves will hit China over the next 10 days, from east to west. The China Meteorological Administration issued a yellow warning of high temperature on July 23rd. A new wave of high temperatures will affect more than 17 provinces and cities nationwide. Fu Jiaolan, a chief forecaster of the National Meteorological Center, says that China may suffer a hot spell similar in scope to heat waves from July 5th to 17th. But more regions could experience temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius, or 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Some cities in Zhejiang province, a major industrial and export hub on the country's east coast, issued red alerts on July 22nd, the highest in a 3-tier warning system, expecting temperatures to reach at least 40 degrees Celsius, or 104 degrees Fahrenheit, in the next 24 hours. The Ministry of Emergency Management warned that the load on the national power grid could reach a new peak this summer due to the high demand for air conditioning in households, offices, and factories. This has required the national electricity grid to maintain safe operation. Liu Zhang, the president of chemical product maker Sika China, says some regulations need to be followed in all of the factories in China and Shanghai. Apart from heat waves, some eastern regions, including Guangdong, Fujian, Hunan, and Jiangxi, are at risk of forest fires in the near term. The western region of Xinjiang experiences glacial melt through July 29th. As a result, this can contribute to the possibility of dam failure on a tributary of the Aksu River near China's border with Kyrgyzstan.
The China space station will be an orbiting space lab where astronauts and scientists can do a wide range of experiments in space life sciences, microgravity physics, and astronomy. But what if these astronauts get sick in space? How do the bacteria grow and change in microgravity environment? A joint team from the Mars Society Peru and Mars Society Spain will be flying to the Chinese space station to conduct an experiment.
The purpose is to generate information about these changes. Getting more information about how bacteria behave in space is important to know which medical procedures will be followed when an astronaut gets an infection or gets sick in space.
Adolfo says his team has been working on this project for almost 3 years. They are expected to come to China this October to prepare the final step before launch.
For us, it will be a great idea. I mean, most of the members of the teams are students, and it's their first experience with a project in space research. We would love to continue presenting projects either to China or other space agencies.
Back in 2019, the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs and the China Manned Space Agency announced 9 projects from 17 countries to be carried out on the China space station. The first set of those projects focus on space medicine, life sciences, and microgravity physics. China plans to carry out more extensive and in-depth international cooperation on Tiangong space station, which is set to orbit the Earth for at least 10 years. And what's more, Chinese and foreign astronauts are expected to work together aboard the Chinese space station in the coming years.
Russia and Ukraine signed a historic deal today in Istanbul to safely deliver Ukrainian grain, foodstuff and fertilizer to international markets under the supervision of the United Nations. The agreement relieved the concerns over a growing food crisis that has been triggered by the crisis in Ukraine to a great extent. Today, the deal was first signed by Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu with his Turkish counterpart Hulusi Akar and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. The deal was later inked by Ukrainian Infrastructure Minister Oleksandr Kubrakov with two others. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who has been exerting efforts for an ultimate deal between Russian and Ukrainian leaders, was also present at the ceremony.
Gemilerin çıkışından güvenli bir şekilde intikaline ve varacağı limana ulaşmasına kadar tüm süreçler üzerinde mutabakat tesis edildi.
The signing of the deal meant a big step towards a reconciliation for the first time since February, when the dispute began in Ukraine. Guterres described the consensus as a beacon of hope on the Black Sea, thanks to the collective efforts of so many.
Today, there is a beacon on the Black Sea, a beacon of hope, a beacon of possibility, a beacon of relief in a world that needs it more than ever. This is an agreement for the world. It will bring relief for developing countries on the edge of bankruptcy and the most vulnerable people on the edge of famine. And it will help stabilize global food prices, which were already at record levels even before the war.
Defense Minister Akar told reporters after the ceremony that the need for a safe transport corridor to transfer about 25 million tons of grain by sea was evident. Akar noted that Russia and Ukraine provide 1/3 of the world's grain supply, and solving this issue is very important in terms of eliminating hunger and security problems in the world. Ukraine is among the world's leading grain exporters, supplying more than 45 million tons annually to the global market, according to the UN Food and Agriculture.
The old revolutionary base of Guangzhou in China's Jiangxi province has embarked on a new development path, thanks to a comprehensive strategy launched 10 years ago. Guangzhou is an inland city with a complex landscape. It was important in early revolutionary activities due to its remote mountain ranges, but the geographical advantage during wartime turned out to be a stumbling block for development. In 2011, nearly 2.2 million people were poverty-stricken in Guangzhou City, and 2.4 million people there had no access to clean water. Hope came in 2012, when 21 national-level supportive documents aimed at vitalizing old revolutionary bases were implemented in the city. This helped nearly 3 million farmers in Guangzhou live in safe and comfortable renovated houses. All villages with over 25 households have been paved with cement roads.
有政府的补贴，最低生活保障嘛，生活不愁吃不愁穿了，然后是自来水了，现在有自己的卫生间呢，很方便了。
Shanxi Village has promoted rural vitalization through the vegetable industry in recent years. A vegetable wholesale market and an e-commerce industrial park were established in 2020, bringing more jobs to locals and increasing the annual average income of villagers by nearly 20,000 yuan.
之所以选择在瑞金叶坪这边，主要是考虑到，首先是当地政府对我们这个企业也很关心、很支持，有一些该给我们优惠的、支持的政策都做得很到位。第二是那个区域优势。 这边的交通各方面都四通八达，很方便。
我在这边主要是负责管理，从外面企业进来了以后，我们就有事情干了，钱越赚越多了，生活也就越来越好。
The main business income of the digital economy in Ruijin is expected to exceed 5 billion yuan this year. In Guangzhou City, the output value of the modern furnishing industry topped 200 billion yuan in 2021. And the operating revenue of the textile and garment industry cluster exceeded 100 billion yuan.
经过这10年发展，我们工业 有了长足的进步。比如说我们现在数字经济的发展，2013年我们瑞金经开区升级为国家级经开区，我们这个产值从原来的100多亿做到去年的270多个亿，然后我们今年的目标是要做到400多个亿。可以说我们的工业是在飞速的发展。
Bubbling gas from riverbed ignites in Chongqing. A video shows that gas bubbling to the surface in a small river ignites easily. The river is located in a village of Jiaoxi Town, Fuling District, Chongqing City. According to the villagers, this phenomenon has been happening for 4 or 5 years. The gas from the river could easily cause a ground fire. Staff from the local Natural Resources Bureau said that Jiaoxi is an energy town, and the fire results from shale gas, which is common in the local area. Melting glaciers threaten dams in Xinjiang. According to Reuters, China will suffer a new round of heat waves over the next 10 days, from east to west, lasting until the end of July. China Meteorological Administration says this round of hot weather will have a certain degree of impact on snow and ice melting. It also warns of a high risk of dam failure in the western region of Xinjiang due to accelerated glacial melt. Temperatures in the oasis of Turpan, Xinjiang, are expected to reach 50 degrees Celsius, or 122 degrees Fahrenheit, next week. China's tofu drag construction. A video shows a tofu drag road in Zhengzhou City. A small construction truck is carrying debris to fill one sinkhole. However, it ends up foundering in another sinkhole as the ground opens up beneath it. After that, a front loader comes to repair the damage and suffers the same plight. When the hospital becomes a place of prayer. During the 3 years of the COVID epidemic, the Chinese people have suffered a lot of catastrophic pain. When people are desperate, they can only pray and ask God for help. The video shows many Chinese people kneeling and praying to God for help. Mostly in hospitals, the walls suddenly turn into churches where people put their faith.